Today we are putting ND filters for the Mini 3 Pro head-to-head. Polar Pro Vivid Collection versus Mingven. Let's get it. I'll do the intro a bit later. First off, I'm doing the Polar Pro ND8 PL filter on the Mini 3 Pro in D-Cine-like. They were in fact not filmed in D-Cine-like. Somehow that got switched to standard. I don't know when or how, but hey, at least both of the filter videos were both filmed in not D-Cine-like, so it's a fair comparison. Anyway, let's go. So that looked not bad, but I will say that it is a little bit bright. So I will go ahead and try, oh no, and we're starting to rain, so I was trying to avoid. No! So that was the Polar Pro ND8 filter. We're gonna switch over to the Mingven and get that tested. The 8 was a little bit not quite ND enough, but because we're dealing with rain, we're gonna make do with what we got. So switch that over real quick. Oh shoot. Oh. Oh, I was definitely recording that. Oh gosh. Oh. Damn. All right. We still got other filters to test, but that will be way later. All right, now that we're back inside, we can finally compare what the footage looks like. So first off, I just wanted to kind of start from a similar point here. So I gotta say it looks good. It's a little bit over bright, but that's all stuff I can mostly fix in post. I didn't commit to the path. Yeah, all right, looks good. Let's come over to the Mingven. I will say this one also looks good. Now there's not a super clear difference, but there's a lot of variables going on, and I'll get into that. Yeah, and then it was a really windy day and had gimbal problems, so I'm like bringing the drone down. All right, so there's a lot of variables here. First off, the sun. The sun is either really bright or hides behind some clouds, so the brightness was variable at different times, but there's definitely like a slight color difference. So like if I bring this to like roughly here in both of these clips was where I noticed it like the most. I still think the Polar Pro filters reproduce the most color accurate. Now the Mingven are totally fine. There's like a green shift. I don't know what color to associate. It's kind of on the greener side, but I also don't know if it was the sun being behind clouds and therefore not lighting that spot, because earlier in the Mingven clip, like even just a full on, this building looks more like the color over here. So I don't know entirely, like otherwise there's some similar color reproduction between the two, but I still feel like the Polar Pro filters give a more accurate color representation of what I actually see in real life. Not to say there's anything wrong with the Mingven, it just means I'm gonna have to give a little bit of extra color correction care to making it look a little bit more real, but it's also close enough that by the time I color grade, it's not gonna make that much of a difference. So overall, both filters are fine. I still am leaning toward my preference being the Polar Pro filters, but the Mingven filters are totally fine. There is a little bit of a green that I kind of don't like, which is why I'm leaning toward the Polar Pro filters. But again, both are totally fine if you want to save yourself 10 bucks and get a couple extra filters for $10 less. That being said, Mingven also has a nighttime filter as well as a pro mist. Not pro mist, I think it's just it's a black mist. Yeah, a quarter black I don't know, I don't use mist filter, so 1/4 quarter mist filter. Polar Pro does have a mist filter, but it is part of a separate pack. But I don't have that pack, and it's not the type of filter I end up using anyway, so I don't have that filter to compare it against the Mingven. So I guess that's another pro for the Mingven, is that for actually now like $90 less at this point, you get a quarter mist, you get a night filter, which Polar Pro doesn't have for the Mini 3 Pro. But maybe don't get your hopes up just yet, because I did also test out that night filter, and for that I just did a without the filter and with the filter comparison. So let's go check those out. I'll be totally honest with you, I had a really hard time seeing what the difference was. Like I said, I really don't think this is a filter I would use, because the area that I stared at the most for the sake of comparing was this shot right here, just because we have lights coming from the building and some street lights. The immediate thing I notice is the level of exposed that the clock tower is. Here you can still faintly see it, and here it's now in the shadows. Yeah, I could increase my ISO. For the sake of testing, I left the camera settings the same on both, so that way we are strictly testing the filters themselves and not how well I can expose a shot. The other thing I noticed, but was a very hard thing to notice, like if I showed this to anyone else, they'd be like, what's the difference? Most people would just notice the darkness of the clock tower. But I noticed the white level of the windows in the building over in the, I was gonna say Polar Pro land, but this is just the no filter land. The lights are a little bit more on the orange side, I guess. Whereas over on the Mingven filter, whites look more white or look more blue, I guess. All in all, the night filter is not something I would use, because what it's giving me isn't really worth it. Maybe it's worth it for you, but it's not worth it for me. All right, and lastly, I'm going to show you the Pro Mist video. Now, I did film this on the same day that it was windy and rainy. I couldn't do a full orbit because the weather was getting bad, so I filmed it on a different day with slightly different lighting situation. It was still very bright outside. Now you've seen kind of what this should look like with a regular ND. The mist filter has 0 ND, and this is what that filter looks like. Now, this particular clip was filmed in D-Cine-like, unlike the other two. So this is with a inversion LUT, just so we can see roughly regular colors. And I did have to crank the shutter in order for this to be properly exposed to any degree. But this is basically what the mist filter looks like. So yeah, not really a filter I would go for. I don't really like the look of this. If I'm going for a dreamy look, sure, but that's not something I go for. So that's what that looks like. So overall, would I suggest getting these filters for your drone? Sure, why not? I have nearly no problems with them. They're totally fine. They do nearly the exact same thing as the Polar Pro filters. In fact, you get more filters for less than you would with Polar Pro. Now, me personally, I really only need ND filters. I don't need any special black mist or night filters. I just need to be able to fight the sun, and ND 8, 16, and 32 cover me well enough. So both options are great, but this video is about the Mingven filters, and these are a solid option. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you give it a big thumbs up. I'll put links to both of these down in the description. Yes, they will be Amazon affiliate links, and I do earn a little bit of kickback if you purchase using those links. And let me know while you're down there, leave a comment. What did you think? How did these filters perform, and would you use any of the filters that maybe I wouldn't use? And yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for being here, and I'll catch you next one. See ya.